Hello, welcome to Lighting the Way with Beth Green and friends. I am Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks. And
And I'm one of the friends. I'm James Maynard, otherwise known as Sweet Baby James.
and tonight James is sitting with me not because his computer isn't working, but because I'm not working. So I'm a little bit wobbly and weak and falling over and so on. So he's just sitting here to make sure that if I do fall over, I fall on him
That's right.
instead of on the floor. So, anyway, I have a very exciting topic to talk about tonight. And I have all these scribbles that I make because I'm really dizzy and not well. And I made some scribbles because there's some things I want to talk about. And so hopefully I'll be able to read those scribbles. And the topic is, are we living in an upside down world or did we just wake up? So, what I mean by that is a lot of us feel like the world is upside down. Everything that we believe in, and that is traditional in the United States, is crumbling, being attacked, and so on. So, I'm asking, is it true? Is the world upside down? Is the USA going in a completely different direction from the way it used to? Or did we just wake up to the way it has been all along, but maybe not so blatant or extreme? So that's the question that I am putting forward today. So I hope you enjoyed that topic. And meanwhile, I'm going to try to open the chat just in case somebody talks to us on YouTube or Facebook. So, okay. So, why am I saying it's an upside down world? What's the argument for that? Well, a lot of people will say, oh, well, voting rights, voting suppression, um, deporting vast numbers of immigrants without habeas corpus, uh, no justice, political assassinations, racism, blatant, and so on and so on and so on. Bombing Venezuelan boats, just because he wanted to. So that can feel very upside down because many of us have been having a certain feeling about this is the nation we live in, and these are the kind of people we are. Oh, we have a hello from Karen. Hi, Beth and James with a heart on Facebook. Thank you, Karen. Oh, I'm so glad you're here because I would love to talk to you about this topic. And you and all the other people on Facebook and YouTube where we are live screaming tonight. No, live streaming tonight. Okay. So see, but then there's this other side, this nagging thought that I have that maybe it's not as different as it seems. Oh, and Tracy said hello and she sent us a kiss. Well, hello back, Tracy. Oh, how nice to see you too. All right. So I think you'll really find this an interesting program. What do we know about children when they have something? They can be very generous. Oh, I want to share this with you or share that. But how many times have we seen children say, it's my toy and he can't have it? Right?
Well, I've seen that.
You've had a child.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's my toy and he can't have it. That is the underlying issue of the whole thing. See, it's mine and I don't want to share it. I don't want to lose it. You can't take it away from me. And so what's happening is we're getting all revved up that somebody, usually somebody of color or of the wrong gender, i.e., women or gay or trans or something, are threatening what we have, whatever we are, the white Christian males, particularly. And we can't have that. That can't happen. You can't take it away from me. Okay, so we see this in children. We see this all along the way throughout life. Okay, so look at that picture. And now I'm going to put out a few factoids. That's why I have a piece of paper here. Now, when I say it scribbles, I mean, can you see this is all scribbles? But the first thing I wanted to tell you guys is that rape within marriage was legal. Legal. The last state that made it illegal, or the last states did so in 1993. Now, some of you are really young, and 1993 sounds like a long time ago, but I was born in 1945, and 1993 to me sounds like yesterday, and to a lot of people. I mean, 1993, until then, it was legal to rape your wife in a marriage. It was really specifically written out that that rape was illegal except within marriage. You see, then it was okay. Now, what do you think of that? Do you think that that's now think about what we're going through today and the abuse of women and immigrants and so on, and you're saying, but you're kidding. Rape couldn't have been legal, could it? It was, and it still happens, whether it's legal or not, because if you're going to stop the guy, you've got to be willing to admit that he raped you. You got to prosecute him. You got to go to the sheriff, and all of that is, and he might be holding the purse strings. So there's a lot of ways to stop women from doing that, as we have seen in the Jeffrey Epstein endless saga, right? Okay, so what about other kinds of freedoms like voting? Let's take a look at, oh my God, they're taking away our right to vote. Oh my God, they're doing it in Texas, in Missouri. They're gerrymandering. They're trying to suppress the vote. Okay. We never suppressed the vote before, did we? Why don't we start with the American Revolution? Do you know who was allowed to vote after the American Revolution? Oh, you'd be on the right track if you said white men, but it's not just white men. It was white men with a certain amount of property. So not even the white men all had the vote. And wow, look at that. We thought that white men just had it so good. So what's with this story? So no, and so it took decades to alter that. Now let me see. In 1790, all states had eliminated religious restrictions on who to vote. It used to be only Protestants could vote. Oh, Karen said yes, 1993 seems like yesterday to me too. And I remember married men feeling entitled to rape. Me too, Carolyn. It happened to me also, indeed. So here we are back in the corral here. And you could only vote if you were Protestant. You couldn't vote if you were Catholic. I mean, remember John F. Kennedy? If you can remember John F. Kennedy, you may not know this if you're too young, but there was such a hullabaloo. How can we have a Catholic president? He's going to listen to the Pope. We can't have a Catholic, much less a Jew or a Muslim or a Hindu or anybody else. Okay, but hey, this is all harking back to the past. We're not like that anymore, but of course, we see that we are like that. They're trying to eliminate people from immigrating to the United States if they're the wrong religion or the wrong color. So it's beginning to smell a little bit familiar, wouldn't you say? So what about blacks voting? Now, okay, white men. Well, surely white women came first after white men. No, no, no. Black men got the right to vote before white women did. So I would say that, let me see, black men were given suffrage in 1870. Do you know when white women, all women, gained suffrage? Was in 1920. 1920. And to some of us, 1920 is also yesterday. Now, what I'm not saying that this was good. I'm saying that the way things are going in this country today, the authoritarianism, the racism, the anti-immigrant stuff, are you kidding? Do you know how much prejudice there was against the Irish and the Poles? I remember living in Cleveland, Ohio, and there were a lot of Polish people, and they were insulted. And the Irish, I mean, even whites were insulted if they were the wrong ethnic group. So it's not that unusual in this nation for us, whoever us is, to try to make sure that they don't take anything away from us. Got it? So now, even though black men theoretically had the vote, what do we know also they had? Poll taxes, literacy tests, grandfather clauses. I didn't know this till today. A grandfather clause means that if your grandfather could vote, you could vote, even if you were illiterate. Now, if you were black, your grandfather probably didn't vote. And so you were not just grandfathered in. So that's the situation. So all whites did not get the permission to vote until I have a note here that looks like 1944. And the Voting Act writes, which outlawed discrimination, although we're getting it back, obviously, was done in 1965. So now you say to me, but wait a minute, wait a minute, Beth. What about the president or the country just bombing other nations without a real war going on and just because we wanted to? Well, do I have to disillusion you about that too, if you have an illusion? The US government overthrew the Iranian government in 1953. Did you know that? That might be part of why they don't like us. And there was a democratically elected government, and we overthrew it. Similarly, with the United States, overthrew the democratically elected president of Chile in 1973. What? What? The United States invaded Vietnam in 1975. 1965, I mean. 1965, we invaded Vietnam. Now, we already had our soldiers there, our rangers, our advisors, our money, and all of that stuff. We got involved really late. So now let's look at the world that we're living in today. Does it sound more familiar? Oh, and then thousands of people were impacted by the Red Scare. There were two Red Scares. One, they used a lot to displace immigrants who came over who might not have had the same political views, but also in the 40s through the 60s, we had the House on American Activities Committee, we had Senator McCarthy. You're saying, oh my God, Stephen Colbert was erased by CBS. Well, in the day, there was a blacklist, and there were lots of people on the Hollywood blacklist who were not allowed to work, to perform anymore in Hollywood. So everything that is happening now that is bad, we have a tradition. It's happened before. And it's happened before for the same reason that it is happening now. That people feel scared and clutch to themselves or ourselves, shall we put it, what is ours, and we feel so threatened. I mean, the demographics were against the Republicans because more colored people of color, were voting for the Democrats. Well, we have to just get rid of the people. I mean, that's not a problem. We just get rid of or stop them from voting. Here is somebody called Rock. He said, the word on paper is a body, a vessel, and the true interpretation. Oh, this guy is putting out some kind of biblical something rather. Well, thank you, Rock, but that's not appropriate for our show. So please keep your biblical comments, your religious comments to yourself. But thank you for your interest. So anyway, what we have to say, we call it ego, right? It is the ego that says it's all about me. I have to protect myself. And as long as we have ego, we are susceptible to this. And when we are in distress, as we are now, we are more susceptible to being turned against one another so that we can protect ourselves. So, did we, are we in an upside down world? Yes, because it's always been an upside down world. And thank God we are beginning to wake up. So there you have it. I'm going to block this user because he keeps sending me weird messages. Oh, well, anyway, I'm famous. I must be famous because somebody is harassing me on YouTube. So thank you very much. Okay, now I would like to bring on my guests and see if you believe that we are living in an upside down world. Oh, by the way, did I tell you, just in case you didn't know, that until what homosexuality was illegal until in many states, and until nationally it became illegal to go against homosexuals in 2003. 2003. Okay. Has the world always been upside down? Is the real question. And I'm bringing on now Lizzie Treehart and Todd Bent. And because James is over here, I can't do it across because then you won't see, we'll be squashed. So, anyway, welcome to the show, Lizzie and Todd. Do we have a comment from our friends?
I have a comment. I'll go.
Yes. All right.
I agree. It's been upside down as long as I've been around, and even way before that. So, um, what else can I say? It's kind of depressing. I mean, it's reality, but it is kind of like, yeah. What's the good old days? What's the making America great again about? Yeah.
Were you aware of all these facts? I mean,
No,
maybe
not
not.
all of them. No, no. I mean, I was aware of some of them. I was aware of women having the right to vote in 1920. It was the 20s. I wasn't sure the exact year.
Mhm.
But I didn't know you had to own land to vote in the early days of the Republican. But it doesn't surprise me. Early days of the Republic, I should say, not
Yes.
early days of the Republican.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
Freudian slip there, maybe. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, we have this highfalutin idea that we're based on, brotherhood and liberty and
And
freedom and
justice for
justice for
all.
all, right? Yeah, but the all is, kind of it's like one of those. I don't know. It's got caveats all through it, holes
Yeah.
through it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, there was one more factoid that I thought would be fun. Do you know that in 1974, it took up to 1974 for women had to have the right to apply for credit cards and have bank accounts.
Whoa.
Wow.
I mean, in some places you could, if you know the state, but it was, yes, it was called the Equal Credit Opportunity Act of 1974. Women didn't own property, couldn't get credit in their own name. Boy, no wonder women stayed in lousy marriages, right?
Yeah.
Had no independent. It's very, very shocking. So I like what you're saying, and it is kind of hypocritical. And you know all this stuff about political assassinations. Well, when the people were on the left, you know, what about Martin Luther King? What about
Bobby Kennedy.
Bobby Kennedy? What about Fred Hampton? What about all these blacks that the Black Lives Matter movements started around? What about I mean, what about so many of the Black Panthers? There are so many people I don't even know who they are,
Hmm.
and there were lots of political assassinations. There was so much violence in the country, and could there have been anything more violent than the hatred in certain places against the civil rights movement? People being beaten,
Yeah.
clubbed. Uh, I mean, even we in the anti-war movement were tear gassed, but the hoses, we had tremendous violence from the government. What is so really exceptional about this government is they're doing all of it. You know, they're attacking everybody, taking us all, trying to take us all back. And every one of these things that we thought, or that, you know, you took for granted, or I took for granted, but I didn't, because I grew up when we won all these rights, was won through blood, sweat, and tears. And it's horrifying and upsetting to see them be taken away. But it's not like, just like you said, it's not like we were such saints to begin with. Thank you, Todd. What
Thank you.
about you, Lizzie?
Yeah, I'm the same as far as I knew some of those facts, but a lot of them I didn't. And that's just really eye opening. It's like, we really haven't changed that much. And the push for this current administration to push for, the good old days, we're not that far from it. And so it's a little, of course, it's scary. It's like, wow, they could push things back. But I also look at how many people are fighting back against it. And I don't know what it was like. I mean, I was young in the 70s, so um, I just still hope that there's enough people that aren't going to let us slide back to where we were. I also think it's maybe a good idea that it's so blatant today
Yes.
because we can't hide from it now. We can't
Yes.
poo-poo it. We can't be like, oh, I mean, some people do, obviously, but I feel those people are watching wherever they get their news or their information is inaccurate. They
Yeah.
probably that say the same thing about me, but I'm like, well, um, humanity doesn't seem to have evolved very much when you look at it that way. When this country was built on that, and my God, that just seems so sickening to think for the pursuit of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Where the hell did that come from?
Yeah.
Were they just lying?
No, they were only thinking of themselves.
It just makes me sick to my stomach.
They wanted life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness against King George. They wanted their freedom against King George of England.
So there's a lot that has not changed.
There's a lot there because we're still thinking about protecting ourselves and our own puny little groups. And very few of us are looking at the broad picture about why is it that we are so invested in keeping other people down in order to make ourselves feel better, look better, be richer,
Yeah.
whatever. Um, now they say, okay, they're taking away subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. Well, it was just yesterday there was no Affordable Care Act.
Mhm.
We didn't have these things. We didn't even have them to lose.
Unfortunately, they're going after Medicare and going to make it so it's going to be harder for doctors to order tests that Medicare will cover. Just
Uh,
basic lab tests and such. And it's like, so I do kind of wonder if we're going to go back to those, blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot of blood.
well, it
I
certainly
don't
seems
know.
that way. I mean, I look at it, we're in the same position. We're looking at Medicare, what's happening to Medicare right in our own town, and how difficult it is to get medical care. But how much of medical care has been actually co opted by the pharmaceutical industries?
Oh,
And
since 1910, when two rich guys saw that they could influence the medical model with the pharmaceutical industry. So at that time, They poo-pooed all other professions, whether you're a chiropractor, a doctor of osteopathy, naturopathy, acupuncturist. They try to poo-poo all those other professionals. Now they're considered, alternative. They're not science-based or,
Right.
not good enough. All because of two rich guys back then.
Wow, that is a fascinating factoid, Lizzie.
And
Well,
so, then they change the medical professional, their training to, instead of curing people, to treat these symptoms with these medications or this surgery.
yeah, absolutely. Well, let's look at the whole history of, quote, women in medicine. In other words, the witches. The witches used to be the healers, the natural healers, and literally they were. And the men decided they were going to take over, and they called the women witches and burned them at the stake. And that was a little bit of a setback. So,
especially for those women.
exactly.
I'm hoping they don't go back to that.
Well, sometimes it feels like that's exactly what's happening. And people are so inflamed and so polarized that people don't recognize that this is what's happening.
Mm.
And that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Yes.
What concerns me most is not only are we living in an upside down world, but that the consolidation of power in the hands of the few has gotten worse and worse and worse. And this is what led to our having Trump as president. Ever since the 1970s, the rich have been getting richer and richer and richer at the expense of the working people. And so you talk about looking out for yourself. They've been looking out for their greed, in unlimited amounts of greed and lust for power, such that now we have a Donald Trump billionaire with an oligarchy of billionaires buying elections, buying Congress people, and whatever happened to democracy, Not to mention all the things that you talked about, like voter suppression. So to my mind, it's more of the same, only worse and worse and worse. And hopefully we can learn from history and roll things back. But you're right, the main tendency has been people start to have privilege, and then they fight to hold on to that privilege at the expense of everybody else.
That's right. And it feels worse to us because we're not those Black people who were lynched. I think the last lynching in the United States was in Alabama in 1981 or 2.
That resumed recently.
What was that? It resumed?
It happened recently, like this week.
Oh my God, I missed that. I must have been out of town and missed that news.
Mississippi.
Somebody was lynched in Mississippi this week.
2 Black people.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
And then 2 people, I think in Wisconsin, Minnesota, went and gunned down homeless camps.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the violence in the nation is horrific. But what I'm saying is that anger, that hatred towards the other, like Black people, if you were a Black person in the South at that time, and there was also lynchings up north, in Indiana, in Illinois, in Ohio, there have been lynchings. And who knows where else? I'm not an expert in American history, but look at that and say, for those people, is this time any more terrifying than that time was? No. So wake up, America. The world has always been upside down. Our nation has been upside down. As James was talking about the financial situation making things worse. And we do need to just wake up and call it like it is. And we have to fight just like we've always had to fight. The labor movement didn't just happen because the bosses liked them. The Pinkerton Guards were a private army to go after people who tried to organize. So wake up. It's always been like this. We've had moments where this might have been seem a little bit better or that has seemed a little bit better, but the fundamental issue of people fighting for themselves and not caring about others has always been there and will be there until we have a real spiritual awakening, which is what I am praying for. And so I invite all of you to consider subscribing to our channel on YouTube or follow us on Facebook and coming back to Lighting the Way, and tell other people about it and share these programs. Give it a like, a love, a thumbs up, and let's get together and support one another.
Tomorrow night's program?
Tomorrow night is Magical Improvs with the Kindred Spirits Band. That's James and me. I play the piano and he sings. And then, we can forget about everything for 10 minutes. Except sometimes we do songs where we bring in lyrics that we show that we're not forgetting about everything. So come back next week also.
And while you're here, download the handbook for the inner revolution if you really want to make the fight for that change that Beth is talking about. The inner revolution, the handbook for the inner revolution is on healingartsnetwork.org. Just go to the book section and you can find it there.
Great. What a great suggestion.
And it's free.
Ty. It's absolutely free. And the link to the healingartsnetwork.org, I believe, is in this description. So let's not get, upset and down. Let's get busy.
Yeah.
Making good trouble, as they say. So thank you so much and see you again soon.
Yeah. Absolutely.